Good morning.
Good morning.
So I'm going to make a few of you feel old today. I was born October 25th in 2006.
Whoa!
Just 23 days before I was born, West Nickel Mines school shooting resulted in the deaths and injuries of 11 people. In 2007, the Virginia Tech shooting resulted in the deaths and injuries of 50 people. In 2008, Northern Illinois University resulted in the deaths and injuries of 27 people. In 2009, my younger sister was born and she changed my life forever. But the lives of 47 people were forever changed after the Fort Hood shooting. In 2011, lives were changed after the Hartford Beers distributor shooting. As a student, this world is the only one that I have known. Gun violence to me has always been the norm. And in 2012, Sandy Hook Elementary School faced a shooting. I was 6 years old. I was in kindergarten and so close to the age of those whose lives were taken away. I was in kindergarten and those children were in first grade. My mom struggled not to take me out of school that day because it hit so close to home. Our world assumed that would be the shooting to cause action. And in this epidemic, where kids wouldn't come home anymore. But in 2018, the Parkland shooting happened in Florida. That resulted in 34 murdered and injured people. 2022 Uvalde Elementary shooting resulted in the injuries and deaths of 40 people. Growing up with all of this gun violence exposure, I began to worry. And as someone who has anxiety, it would plague me constantly. Whenever I'd go out into public areas, I would scan anywhere I went for exits. Theaters, public grocery stores, football games at my school. I was constantly worried something was gonna happen. And I was told I didn't need to worry because it wouldn't affect me ever. Because oftentimes we see these large-scale incidents and they seem so far away. But in reality, they're much closer to us than we think. I am now 17 years old, and unfortunately, I have my own story. I'd love to say that gun violence has only impacted me ethereally and through the news and secondhand information, but that's not the case. I live with the burdens and the trauma of gun violence every day. I grieve for the lack of action because March 4th of 2022, a firearm was brought into my school. I can tell you everything that I did, everything that happened that day. I was wearing my Hamilton t-shirt, jean shorts, the jacket that I take from my mom, a tie-dyed mask. I had math class second period where I called my mom to be picked up because I wasn't feeling well. I remember calling my dad when the announcements went off and asking him what in the world was going on. I live with the PTSD and the trauma from that day, and it follows me. And I ask, when will we recognize that it is affecting us much closer than we think? Unfortunately, I know some of my friends who are about 18 years old and have gone through an upwards of 4+ instances of gun violence. This is an issue that is on our home front, and it is everywhere. Guns are the #1 killers of children and teens, and that is just within America. Think about how absurd that is, that guns are the #1 killer of children and teens. This is a fact and not something that can be debated. I am tired of watching my classmates suffer. I am tired of watching my family suffer. And I'm tired of watching our community suffer. Look over there.
Yeah.
That's the next generation.
Yes.
Do we want to raise them in a world where they are constantly worrying about going to school?
No.
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 We need to take action. But in taking action, it's important to give ourselves time to grieve. The Wear Orange movement has created a space where we can come together and remember people. And we mourn those lost by gun violence. Oftentimes, it's easy to feel like we don't have an impact. And because progress is slow and progress isn't going to happen overnight, this movement is one that can be exhausting. But together, we are bringing change into tomorrow. Gun violence has been so normalized that people have lost the ability to become shocked or frightened when the news of another happens. We each have a story. Whether you were at my school, the Chiefs parade, or whether it was a smaller instance that wasn't reported on, we all have a story. This grief and loss that we carry needs to be acknowledged, and we cannot normalize this. I want to allow a moment to remember those fallen by gun violence.